Hello Epic 7 newbies, this is Suspect Amy, and I'm here to do a quick rant about how Arum completely ruined my very first tier list only a few days after I released it. This goes to show how much of a noob I am at RTA. I thought for sure the game would ban any new hero from being used in RTA so close to the end of the season. It ruins the current meta and causes everyone to shift strategies at the last minute while they're trying to rank up. It looks like I was wrong, and this ban only applies to the World Championships. Well, I guess Arum is secretly a good thing. I received 2 complaints about my tier list, so it gives me a chance to make some quick adjustments. One complaint was that the units that I personally used were ranked too high, even though 0 other players were using them. I can see where I was a bit biased there. The second complaint was that I had high-end units like DDR, Firecrow, and Taeyu ranked way too low. I only played 70 games, mostly in lower ranks, and with a very specific draft style. So even though my tier list covers what I experienced, it's not enough games to make a good judgment on all heroes. So I played a bunch more in the new Arum meta, and now I'm over 150 games played. My win rate is still okay, 60%, even though I was doing a ton of experimenting with different units and playstyles. This is meant to be a really quick 5-minute update on my RTA tier list. Hopefully I can get this video out in time to help some late climbers. So here is what my new and improved tier list looks like. I added a couple of rules. I want to cover the top 20% of the heroes in Epic 7. So with 330 heroes, I made a decision to limit my list to only 70 units. This means if I have your favorite hero ranked in D tier, don't be upset. They're still ranked higher than 80% of the heroes in the game. Because I only have 70 spots, this means some heroes needed to get kicked out like Shaltir, Arya, and Blooming Lidica. They're good heroes, but I didn't see them enough to include them in the top 70. Another rule is that I can't stand tier lists that have like 40 heroes in B tier or some crazy high number. I don't think that's very helpful. My rule is I can't have more than 20 heroes in a tier. If it gets that crowded, then I should be adding another tier and splitting things up. Let's go through the notable changes. One is Lidica drops from S tier to B tier. You guys might think that's harsh, but Aram really throws a wrench into any kind of Lidica play. She can still sort of be used in a slower play style, but it was really hit or miss when I tried it. The biggest consequence of Aram being introduced to the game is Summertime Iceria. She went from A tier down to D tier. You guys don't understand how devastating Aram's 3-turn immunity passive is to setting up Summertime Iceria. Summertime's passive only triggers on an AoE attack, and that attack pretty much has to strip immunity, or else she can't land her bombs. Here's a list of the only units in the game who are fast enough to open and have a stripping AoE attack. This list was already pretty pathetic, but it's Ran, Pyrrha, Lidica, Briar Witch, and then there's Cerise and Lethe. Let's be honest, if you're using Lethe to initiate a cleave, then you're already in trouble. With Aram's introduction, how many of these heroes can still strip her immunity and trigger Summertime? 2. That's it. Ran and Briar Witch. So Summertime is basically unusable unless you get some lucky bans. In my last video, I recommended a cleave draft with Lidica. Just replace her with Ran or Briar Witch and you can still pull it off, but there's a few more counters in play. Rowana moves from A tier to C tier for pretty much the same reason. What's actually worked for me a bit is to protect New Moon Luna and pick Rowana and Green Yufine at 4 and 5. Not as successful as Lidica was, but they can get you wins. I moved Lone Wolf to S tier. To be honest, she should have been there anyways. There's almost no games where she's not picked or banned. Fire Politis and Abyssal Yufine moved to A tier because they're crucial for shutting down Amid and Arum cleaves. Arum lands in A tier to kick off her debut, and this is a good spot for her. I also moved New Kid Aiden up here as I play against her more and more. Amid and Summer Hua move up to A tier as well, as they're really dominant right now. The most common cheese is to ban Zio and Harsetti, pick Fire Politis and Abyssal Yufine at 1 and 2, then do Amid, Strays, Summer Hua. If you see this coming, you need to snipe Amid to take her off the board, because there's no defense that can stop this. Prefect Arya's ER and Soul Denying kit is really strong right now. I also had Mere Witch too low. She deserves to be in A tier now that I played her more. I was wrong in my last video. If you build her fast, she'll do wonders for you. For B tier, I moved BBK down here from A. She's good, but not as good as the other A tiers. Silverblade moves down from A tier as well. She still pushes herself well with multi-turn heroes like Emid and Renak, but she lost Lidica, who turn cycled like crazy. Everyone else is new here. Bellion because her passive becomes more important at higher ranks. Karina for anti-cleave and because she pairs well with AS Flan. Firecrow, Taeyu, and Chu are all much better than I had them ranked originally. I still don't see them a ton, but at later ranks they pack a very serious punch. The Taeyu Zio cleave is pretty legit. For C tier, Gala is new to the tier list. I'm seeing her a lot more deep into champ. I moved Frida and Light Aiden down because I rarely see them anymore. I got a lot of complaints about DDR being in D tier. I moved him up to C. I'm seeing him a bit more, and he's definitely annoying, but almost no one is playing high HP units anymore, so his usefulness has dropped off. Dilibet is rarely used but deserves to be up here due to her synergies with Flan and countering the control meta. I never see SSB, but I experimented in a few games, and she did really well for me if the right draft is available. I did want to comment on speed imprints. There's a ton of heroes drafted only for speed imprint, and I don't include them on this list. I think Veronica is different. She counters a lot of meta units like Genua, Amiki, BBK, Briar Witch, and Spirit Eye, so she deserves her own praise. And finally, D tier. I got some flack about putting Tywin here. I played him 3 times in 150 games, and I have yet to see him do anything useful. I think the meta has shifted. There are tons of better units to pick instead of him. Helua is this low because she's countered by Aram. I didn't have SSV on my list before. That was a big miss. She probably deserves to be higher, but I've only seen her a few times. In those few times, she's done really well. Tori I have seen 0 times, but people in my comments swear she's still viable, so I'll keep her here for now. Young Senya is pretty much done at this point. I tried forcing her into drafts and lost like 10 games in a row. I'm keeping her here because of Abyssal Euphne's sudden resurgence. That's a small window that could put her back into play. I pair Alencia with young Senya so they kind of follow each other around. IHA deserves to be higher. With Aram's introduction and Amid's dominance, New Moon Luna is really taking off, and Horizon is still a primary counter. And last but not least, Conqueror Lilius. She's also countered by Aram, but with buffs incoming and Summer Hua being A tier, it's best not to count her out just yet. That's all I have today. Thanks for watching my video. Bye everyone!